It's good to see you today. Hope you're doing well. We're going to be looking at when people brought offerings for the tabernacle today. Our hymn is called Simple Gifts.
Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, to be in the valley of love and delight, when true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
A song of contentment. Let's look at our passage now. In Exodus chapter 35, after the golden calf account, and the fear of the Lord was put into the people. Verse 4, And Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, Take from among you an offering to the Lord. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it as an offering to the Lord. Gold, silver, and bronze, blue and purple, scarlet thread, fine linen and goat's hair, ram skins dyed red, badger skins, acacia wood, oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil, for the sweet incense, on and on. And so it's going to be the free will offering for the tabernacle to be built. If you're unfamiliar with the account, what happens is wonderful in that as the people start making their offerings, eventually they have so much that the offering is stopped. That's spoken about either towards the end of this chapter or perhaps into the next. And so everyone was doing it as it happens. And we'll get to that verse here in just a moment. It's the following chapter where they received all the offering, and they spoke to Moses, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service. There in verse 5. So Moses gave a commandment that the people were restrained from bringing. They gave more than enough. And so you might think about this offering, and that, let me put it back up there. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it as an offering to the Lord, gold, silver, and bronze. And while we have just looked at the golden calf account, obviously not all of the gold went into that calf. And so where did a lot of these goods come from? And you might think about the verse that they plundered the Egyptians. That's where these goods came from. They were slaves. They didn't have anything. They didn't have too much. And so as they plundered the Egyptians, yes, I know Aaron said, break off your earrings and you have the golden calf account. And we know what happens to that golden calf. But obviously there was still those who had these things left. Gold, silver, and bronze. And so those who had a willing heart, they were bringing their offerings. And so you think about the Egyptian plunder. And the Egyptian plunder, I would suggest, would not have just been precious metals. It also would have been blue, purple, scarlet thread. Such things as that. Garments. Might consider royal garments and the garments that the wealthy would have and such things as that. And so it looks like, and I'm not saying they couldn't have perhaps found some of these things in the land around them. Some of the things they may have, and some of the things are actually going to be made. One of the things I believe it speaks about there in verse 6, the goat's hair, that they had animals and flocks and things along those lines, so they were going to be making things as well. And let's see if I can... find that verse. I think it's a little further on. Both men and women as had a willing heart brought earrings, nose rings, rings and necklace, all those things, right? The plunder of the Egyptians, like we said. Every man with whom was found blue, purple, and scarlet thread, fine linen, goat's hair, all those things. Verse 25 is the one I was thinking of. All the women who were gifted artisans spun yarn with their hands and brought what they had spun of blue, purple, and scarlet and fine linen. Those things. Seems like there's more said about that a little bit. But I wonder if what was happening was not, if the Egyptians gave them clothing, if they weren't deconstructing that clothing and breaking it down into its thread, and then using that thread to make the things for the tabernacle, perhaps. And so it looks like I would suggest they were making things, they were unmaking things, and they were remaking things, is what it looks like. And so, again, they were slaves coming out of Egypt. So where did all this stuff come from? And thus they plundered the Egyptians. And so, as it goes on, it speaks about the one or ones who would be over the work, and that's verse 30. Moses said to the children of Israel, "See, the Lord is called by name, Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. He's filled him with the Spirit of God." And I thought this was interesting. He's filled him with the Spirit of God, right, to design artistic works, verse 32. Gold, silver, how to work those things, and cutting jewels for setting. To think about the ephod, and carving wood, and to work in all manner of artistic workmanship. But also, verse 34, and he has put in his heart the ability to teach. In him, and as well as Aholiab the son of that person as well. He's filled them with skill to do all manner of work. I just thought it was interesting, not only to do the work, but also to teach how to do the work. And so I thought that was interesting, and to think about a spiritual application, that you have the ability to design and to build, but also the ability to teach. Some people may be good builders, but not the best teachers. And we can work on both. But we might also think about how the Lord takes us from the world and remakes us. Might think about that figure. Thus the Egyptians were plundered. And you can take the Egyptian plunder and you can turn it into an idol if you want to. That's not pleasing to the Lord. What pleases the Lord is when you take it and you turn it into something for His glory. And of course, ultimately, it's the Lord that shapes us. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our Daily Praise.